On this video, I want to talk about how you can break free from a slump and feel like yourself again. Friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Marielle. I'm a corporate working mom with a master's degree in psychology. Here I talk about all things motherhood, parenting, relationships, productivity, work-life balance, and just becoming your best self. So stick around if you want to see more of that. There are 3 phases I want to go through. The first phase is stepping back and reflecting. The second phase is taking action. And the third phase is making plans. So let's get into it. The first phase is stepping back and reflecting. So I'm going to go through the different things that you can do in this phase. And the first one is taking a day off. There's no shame in taking some time to rest and taking time for yourself. It does not necessarily mean just lying down and doing nothing, although if that's what you need to, do it. But what I mean by this is actually just checking out of your responsibilities, specifically work responsibilities, or whatever obligations that you have for a day or two. The key is to not put pressure on yourself and just let go. Sometimes what you need is a change of scenery, a change of routine, to help you feel recharged and ready to go again. You can spend this day catching up on tasks, you can use this day for sleeping, you can choose to go out with friends or go out by yourself, take yourself on a date or go on a date, and whatever your body really needs to be able to relax and recuperate, just do it. The second thing for in this phase is journaling. There are different questions that you can ask yourself, and I'm going to list down a few here that you can do as prompts, as journal prompts, that you can use for your own journaling if you feel like you are in a slump or you're feeling demotivated and you want to get through it and just recharge and feel like yourself again. So a few questions that you can ask yourself are, first, what am I actually worrying about this present moment? What is my main concern? Another one is, what is causing these negative feelings? What do I need right now? Is there anybody who can support me through this phase? What would make me feel better at this moment? What are 1 or 2 small action steps that I can do to be able to get out of this slump? If you're, for instance, not feeling sure why you're even feeling down, you can take this moment and journal it out. Just free write on your journal and write down how you're feeling and try to figure it out through there. Spend a few minutes, doesn't need to be that long, it can just be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just journal it all out, how you're feeling, what's causing this, and then you'll be able to get into your head and put all the things that are in your head into paper. Sometimes when we have our thoughts ruminating in our head and they're just circulating in there, it's difficult to really grasp what exactly is happening and how exactly we're feeling. But once we actually write it down, it's easier for us to be able to process what is actually happening and what we're actually feeling. Another thing that you can do is to make some lists. So there are 2 types of lists that I would recommend for this specific purpose. One is a gratitude list, so just writing down everything that you're grateful for, from the most mundane things, from the most basic things, to the biggest things that you can think about. So it doesn't have to be anything grand or anything spectacular. It can just be, being able to breathe today, waking up today in the morning, getting out of my bed. Sometimes it's so easy for us to take things for granted that we just experience every day, like waking up in the morning. And sometimes it's good to remind ourselves of what are actually the things that we should be grateful for every day. Another list that I would recommend for this specific purpose is an accomplishments list. So just write down a list of all the things that you have accomplished thus far. So you can go as far as you want to go, as far as you would like. You can go as far as just the past year, but you can also do as far as several years ago. It doesn't have to be anything super big. It can also be smaller wins that you would want to include in here, so it's really up to you. But basically this list is just a list of things that has made you proud in the past, and maybe difficult things that you went through and the challenges that you had to go through and you succeeded on the other side. This list is a good way to be able to remind ourselves of how strong we actually are and how much we're able to overcome. And no matter how difficult things seem right now, that these things too are also just temporary and these things will pass. After you're done with all your writing, your journaling, and your lists, it's nice to go through all of them and really try to process it and try to let it sink in. So when you're in the moment and you're just writing down your lists and you're just thinking about all the things that you want to write, it's a good way to purge all your feelings and all of your thoughts into paper. But it's also good to be able to read it back to yourself afterwards to see, what do I actually have here and what are these trying to tell me? So it'll help you to be able to figure out, for instance, if you don't know why you're in a slump in the first place, to figure out why that might be. There might be some reasons there might be some hints and some clues that will help you to realize why you are where you are right now and what are the things that can actually help you to get out of it. Now let's move into phase 2, which is taking action. The first thing under this phase is self-care. And I know that now is like a very self-care kind of era. Everybody's talking about self-care and how self-care is so important and blah 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 blah. But it's true that it is really important. Just one of those things that when you're so busy or when you're not feeling great, that it's one of the things that we can easily forget and easily just fall off of our plate because we feel like it's just not our priority at the moment. But it's very important to make sure that you're making time to take care of your body and your mind, just your health in general. There's so many different kinds of self-care ideas that you can do, like taking baths, going on a walk, doing exercise, doing some sports, trying out new things, finding your hobbies, practicing your hobbies, getting enough sleep, meditating, journaling, as I mentioned, eating healthy, doing something creative, spending time with your loved ones. There's just literally so many things and endless things, and there's really something for everyone. The main message really here is that it's important that we take care of ourselves first if we want to be able to take care of everything else. If you're not okay, everything else is going to be affected by it. Because even if you feel like it's not a priority right now, maybe in the short term it will work, but in the long term it's really not going to work because everything will be impacted. If you're, for instance, a mom like me and you don't take care of yourself, I've been there. When my daughter was first born, I was really very focused on taking care of her, making sure that I'm doing the right things for her. And I, looking back now, realized that I didn't really make time for myself so much because I was just so focused on what she needs and I just wanted to be like the perfect mom for her. But because I was neglecting myself a little bit, I wasn't taking care of myself as much as I should have, it impacted the way that I showed up as a mom, and that's really not what I want. So I know now, looking back at it and becoming a mom again for the second time, this time around, I know what I need to do, and that I know that I need to put taking care of myself a bit more of a priority. Feeling connected is a great way to make ourselves feel a little bit better. If you're especially an extrovert, I think this will be even more beneficial for you. I am myself an introvert, but I know that I also benefit very much from connecting with my loved ones. And as much as I love being by myself and having my me time and my alone time, I also love to connect with my loved ones and see how they're doing, having a chat, catching up, having coffee. It's just so nice to be able to connect with other people and seeing how they're doing and sharing the things that you're also going through. And especially if you're not feeling great with yourself or that you're going through something, it's nice to have somebody there listening to you. And they don't even need to really do anything. They don't really need to solve your problem per se. But just having that connection, having the feeling of support from somebody who loves you is just, I think, just so invaluable and can really help you to get your spirits back up. It's a nice reminder to be able to think that we are loved and people around us care for us and we care for other people as well. And that's how we function as humans. We all need to feel that connection. We all need to feel that support. And it's nice to be able to give and receive support. A great way to be able to get out of a slump is to try something new and get out of your routine. This could be as small as changing what you eat in a day or changing how you wear your hair to something as big as booking a trip somewhere. So it's really up to you how far you want to do this and how adventurous you want it to be. Maybe you try to do something completely different from what you would normally do, or you're just trying to dip your toes in the water and do something very small that's not normally what you would do or what you would pick. But having this change and having this, like, spicing things up a little bit can really help to make us feel a little bit more refreshed, a little bit more invigorated. The key is to step out of your comfort zone and try something new. It can help you see the world in a different light, in a different perspective, and give you the much needed boost of energy that you need. Now, moving on to phase 3 is we're making plans. So another great way to get out of a slump is to look forward to something new. So it might be an upcoming trip that you would have been wanting to do. Maybe it's just going on a coffee date with a friend that you haven't seen in a long time. Maybe it's finally going on date night with your husband. So many studies show that the build up to the actual thing that you're excited about is just as exciting, if maybe sometimes even more exciting than the actual thing. I know for me that when I go on trips, I love planning trips and I love making my itinerary and like thinking about all the things that I want to do and all the things I want to see and all the places I want to explore and the food that I want to try. And so it really like puts me in such a positive headspace and such a just happy mood to be able to think about all the things that I would want to do in the trip. And looking forward to it is almost just as fun as the actual trip itself, which is definitely a boosted mood. Getting inspired and getting motivated is a great way to get out of a slump, so why not try to do a vision board? I love making vision boards, especially at the beginning of the year, because I like to get the juices flowing. I want to think about all the goals that I want to achieve that year. I want to think about all the things that I want to see, I want to do, all the bucket lists that I want to write. Just a nice way to get myself motivated and inspired to go out and do these things and to even work hard to be able to get to where I want to go. Another way to get inspired is through books, to listening to podcasts, to reading blog posts. I love all of these things. I literally do all of these things all the time. I listen to podcasts multiple times a week. I read books every day. I read blog posts multiple times a week as well of different topics that I'm interested in. And there's so many inspiring accounts out there. There's so many inspiring books and things to consume out there. And I love consuming inspiring content, motivating content to help boost my mood and to help me to get into the zone and think about like, okay, let's do this. Like, this is the time right now, and now is my time to go get it. You know, like when I'm feeling just so like meh, like I feel like I just want to be a couch potato. I just feel like I just want to sit down and rot in the couch or in my bed. Sometimes like a little bit of a pep talk, a little bit of motivation boost can really help to get myself going and to give me the boost of energy that I need. Last but not the least is to set 1 or 2 small actionable goals. So from all of the things that you've journaled, all of the things that you've read, all of the things that you have asked yourself and answered, what are the themes and what are the patterns that are coming up? Are there some things that are recurring? Are there some hints as to why you're in the slump? Are there some hints as to what you might need as next steps? So from all of these, try to reflect and try to review it and go through all of your answers and all of the things that you've gathered throughout, and just try to make 1 or 2 small actionable goals that you would like to achieve in the next few weeks. This will help to build the momentum, because now that you're feeling better, now that you're feeling inspired and motivated, this will help you use that as a push to be able to actually get yourself out there and actually go after the things that you want or need to do in life. And this will help you get through the hump, which might exactly be what you need at this moment. So now that I've gone through all the 3 phases of getting yourself out of a slump, I also want to touch upon some important things. First is to accept your feelings and to accept the situation. The first step of getting out of a slump is acknowledging that you're actually in a slump. Acknowledging that At the moment, you're just not feeling great about yourself. At the moment, you're feeling low, and that's okay. You can allow yourself to feel that way. It's completely fine. You're human. Sometimes we have our up days, sometimes we have our down days. Don't try to run away from your feelings or try to avoid them or try to push them aside, because it's not going to help anybody. The most important is that you first acknowledge that you have it, that you're going through it, and only from there are you going to be able to move forward. Remind yourself that it's a temporary phase, that this too shall pass, and that there are so many other things that there are so many other people who might also be going through the same thing as you are. Even if it's been going on for some time, sometimes it's just some time to realize or to admit to ourselves that we're actually in a slump. But that's completely fine, you know. Some slumps last for a few days, some slumps last for a few weeks, and some slumps even last for a few months. It's important to be patient with yourself and to give yourself some grace and to allow yourself to feel the feelings that you need to. And only then will you be able to get through them, because you can't just push them aside. You need to let them go through you and then process them, and then only then will you be able to move on. I also want to quickly address the difference between being in a slump and being depressed. Maybe you're not sure if you're just in a slump or if this is depression, but there are a few key things that you can look out for, that you can watch out for, to be able to determine which one it is. So the main difference between being in a slump and depression is that being in a slump is just a really temporary phase. Depression can last a really long time. It can last years. And a slump is only just kind of like a hump, like if you think about it. Because these are things that happen from time to time. You can be in a slump one day and then you're back again as yourself the next day. And as I mentioned, a slump can last a few days, can last a few weeks, or even a few months, but it's not going to drag on as long as depression, actual depression, does. If you're not sure which one it is, you should always go seek professional help. Another difference is that you can get out of a slump by yourself by doing these things that I mentioned earlier. But with depression, it's not going to be easy to get out of it by yourself. If you feel like you are maybe on the verge or maybe are already experiencing depression, please get some help, seek professional advice. Depression can manifest itself in so many different ways, and it's much more intense than just being in a slump. And it can be a difficult line to really determine for yourself, especially when you're in it. And sometimes it's difficult for us to recognize it ourselves, and it might be easier for our loved ones to recognize it in us. So just listen to your loved ones. If people are telling you things that might raise some red flags or might ring some bells, maybe try to book an appointment with a professional and seek some help. Remember that going to see a therapist, going to see a professional does not make you weak. It does not make you anything less than you are. It can actually mean that you're even stronger than you think that you are, because you're able to admit to yourself that you need this help. I myself have gone through therapists before because there are times when I've needed it. I've admitted that I needed it, and I knew that I just needed a fresh perspective from somebody who knows what they're talking about, and it really helps me to be able to process all my feelings and to process everything that I've been going through, and it really is worth it. So that's it. I hope that this video has given you some good insights and some good tips that you can use for yourself if you're also feeling stuck, if you're also feeling like you're in a slump or you're feeling demotivated. Don't forget to like this video and give it a thumbs up if you liked it or if you found it helpful. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I wish you a great rest of the week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!